Welcome to TalkTickers. We cut through the noise of earnings calls to bring you the insights that matter.
And today we're diving into the latest from SurgePay. This is for their first quarter of 2025.
Right. Let's get straight into the numbers. What's the top line look like?
Well, the headline figure is revenue at $10.6 million. Now that's down pretty sharply from $31.4 million in Q1 last year.
Okay, wow, that's a big drop. What's behind that?
It's mainly two things, really. First, the end of that ACP federal funding back in June 2024. That was a big factor. And second, they discontinued their lead generation services. So those two combined really pulled the overall revenue down.
Right. So expected to some extent, given those events. But what else is happening beneath that main number? Anything growing?
Yes, absolutely. And this is key. Their platform service revenue showed, really strong growth. It hit $8.3 million this quarter.
$8.3 million, up from what?
Up from just $2.5 million in Q1 2024. So a significant increase there.
Okay, so that's a positive sign amidst the headline drop. But what about profit? That ACP funding loss must have hurt the bottom line.
It did. Gross profit was actually a loss of $2.9 million for the quarter. Compare that to a profit of $8.2 million same time last year. So yeah, the ACP impact is clear there.
Makes sense. And how are they managing costs? SG&A.
They did manage to cut SG&A. It was down 28.6% year over year, coming in at $4.4 million.
Okay, some cost control there, but still an operating loss.
Yeah. Despite the SG&A reduction, the loss from operations was $7.6 million. Quite a swing from the $1.8 million operating profit they had in Q1 2024.
And the net loss?
Also $7.6 million, which translates to about $0.38 per share.
Got it. And cash position, how are they looking there?
At the end of March, they had $5.4 million in cash equivalents, and investments. That's down from $11.8 million at the end of 2024.
Okay, so cash burn is something to watch. Did they mention any financing?
They did. They secured $6 million in financing. That's pretty important context for the cash position.
Definitely. Provide some, breathing room. What about the outlook and any guidance or targets?
They've put out some pretty ambitious targets. They're aiming for $200 million in revenue for the 12 months starting April 1st, 2025.
$200 million from where they are now. That's bold.
It is. And they also expect to be operating cash flow positive by the end of this year, 2025.
Okay. So they must have a clear plan for how they get there. What's the strategy driving this optimism?
It boils down to a major strategic shift. They're moving away from being just a reseller and distributor
To what?
To being a platform and a telecom infrastructure partner. The cornerstone of this is a new multi-year deal they've signed with AT&T.
AT&T. Okay, so what does that partnership actually mean for SurgePay?
It gives them direct network access, and it positions SurgePay as like a back-end provider for other wireless companies, specifically MVNOs.
MVNOs, right? Mobile Virtual Network Operators. Companies that sell mobile service but don't own the actual network towers.
Exactly. So SurgePay isn't just selling plans directly anymore, or at least that's not the main focus. They're becoming the engine behind other wireless brands, providing the network, the systems.
Sort of a wholesaler model for mobile service?
Precisely. And they seem to move fast. They said the full integration with AT&T, network migration, SIM activation rollout, it's all done rapidly.
Wow. Are they seeing results already? You mentioned platform revenue is up. Is this related?
It seems like it. They've shipped over 210,000 SIM cards just since the soft launch of this new strategy.
210,000 SIMs already.
Okay, yeah. And they have another 290,000 in inventory, plus 250,000 more expected by the end of May. So they're gearing up for demand.
Across retail and wholesale.
Both channels, yeah. And their existing retail network is key here, too. Over 9,000 stores.
Right, the community stores, they use SurgePays software.
Exactly. For activations, payments, top-ups, it's all integrated through their point-of-sale system.
Okay, so let's talk about this wholesale side more. They're calling it an MVNE platform, Mobile Virtual Network Enabler.
Yes, MVNE. So they're offering other wireless companies things like billing, provisioning services, the SIM cards themselves, and something called EIMs, which helps manage subscribers. Basically a full toolkit.
And are companies signing up?
They said they've already onboarded 3 MVNOs mobile broadband network operators, with 2 more coming soon.
And these partners have existing customers.
Yeah. Collectively, these first few partners serve hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So the potential scale is there.
That sounds like it could shift their revenue model quite a bit towards recurring revenue.
That's the idea. High margin, recurring revenue. It's expected to be structured around a monthly recurring charge, an MRC, for talk and text.
And data.
Data would likely be the metered component charged based on usage. The exact revenue per partner will vary, of course.
But the shift is towards stickier, potentially more profitable revenue. That makes sense.
Exactly. It's a move away from the lower margin, maybe more volatile reseller business.
What about the retail side? Did they mention anything new there?
They did talk about this phone-in-a-box concept. It's basically a retail package ready to go.
It's in the box.
A phone and a plan, all for under $100. Grab-and-go style.
Interesting price point. How did that go?
They did a pilot 2,600 units, and apparently it's sold out in under 30 days.
Sold out. Okay, so there's demand.
Seems like it. They plan to restock and maybe expand the options. And importantly, selling these boxes also brings that store into the SurgePay network for future top-ups.
Ah, clever. It links the retail product sale to the ongoing service revenue.
Right. Creates that ecosystem effect.
There was also a leadership change mentioned. Darren Winfrey.
Yeah, he's been promoted to president of sales and operations.
What's the significance there, do you think?
It probably signals a strong focus on execution now, getting this new platform rolled out, scaling up sales, managing the operations efficiently, put someone clearly in charge of making it happen day to day.
Frees up the CEO for strategy, maybe?
Maybe.
Let's circle back to that $6 million financing. They called it non-dilutive and shareholder friendly. Can you unpack that a bit?
Sure. It's a 24-month convertible note from LaCarr, who is already their largest outside shareholder.
Convertible note, meaning it can turn into shares later.
Exactly. It starts amortizing, meaning paying back principal, after 8 months. It converts into shares at a price of $4 per share.
$4.
And there's an option for SurgePay to repay it early. So it's considered less immediately dilutive than just issuing $6 million worth of new stock right now.
But potential dilution down the road if the stock hits $4 and the note converts.
Precisely. It's not zero dilution potential, but it delays it and makes it contingent on the stock price rising significantly. So arguably more friendly than an immediate equity raise at current prices.
Okay, that makes sense. So with these MVNE partners coming online, when do they expect to actually see the revenue from them?
They're anticipating that revenue will start showing up in the Q2 2025 results. So the current quarter we're in now, all 3 initial partners are apparently activating subscribers as we speak.
Good to know. Did they comment on the wider economy? How does inflation or recession risk affect their business?
Their view is kind of interesting. They feel their target customer, maybe the bottom third of the economy, income-wise, is less directly hit by some macroeconomic swings.
Less discretionary spending to cut, perhaps?
Maybe. They even suggested economic uncertainty could be a net positive sometimes.
How so?
Well, it might push more people towards value-focused phone plans like theirs. And maybe it gives their retail store partners more incentive to push these services for extra income.
Interesting angle. What about longer-term goals? Did they mention expansion plans for their network of locations?
They did. The near-term goal is hitting 100,000 locations using the SurgePay platform.
100,000. Wow. By when?
By the end of next year, so end of 2026.
Where does that confidence come from?
They say it's based on visibility into partnerships they're negotiating. Big distributors, like one called HT Hackney, that services apparently 40,000 convenience stores.
Okay, distribution deals could scale things quickly.
Right. And also growth in other networks they support, like for top-ups and the Lifeline program.
Lifeline, the government assistance program. Are they expanding there?
They said they're actively looking at opportunities in higher revenue Lifeline states. And they seem optimistic about a potential enhancement to the Lifeline program nationally, maybe with more funding per subscriber.
Okay, lots of moving parts. A real transition phase for the company.
Definitely. High risk, potentially high reward if they execute on this shift.
All right. That brings us nicely to our segment, This Is Not Financial Advice. Time to brainstorm some, let's call them outrageous but plausible trade ideas based on what we've heard. What's one possibility that jumps out?
Okay, so not financial advice, remember?
Okay.
But here's an idea. Given how fast they're shipping SIMs for the new platform, and with those MVNE partners already activating, maybe the market is underestimating the speed and scale of this wholesale platform growth. So one thought could be a long position in SurgePay.
Betting on the MVNE strategy is surprising to the upside.
Exactly. Over the next, say, 6 to 12 months, it's really a bet on their execution of this pivot and leveraging that AT&T access effectively. The market might be focused on the past revenue drop, not the future potential of the platform.
Interesting. A bet on the transformation story playing out faster or bigger than expected. Okay, what about another angle?
How about this? Consider the phone-in-a-box success. Small pilot, but sold out fast. And it ties retailers into their payment network.
Right, the ecosystem play.
So maybe a paired trade, go long SurgePay, but at the same time, short a competitor that's stuck in the old model, just traditional prepaid distribution. No integrated platform, no similar retail hook.
So betting on SurgePay's integrated model disrupting the lower end of the market and taking share from less agile competitors.
Kind of. It capitalizes on the potential disruption SurgePay's approach could bring, especially if they successfully scale that retail strategy alongside the wholesale one. Again, purely speculative, depends on a lot going right.
Outrageous but plausible, as we say.
Okay, that was our deep dive into the SurgePay Q1 2025 earnings call. We've unpacked the numbers, the big strategic shift, the partnerships, and some potential ways things could play out.
And remember, this is just our take on the call. It's absolutely not financial advice. You need to do your own thorough research before making any investment decisions.
Definitely. What stood out to you? Do you buy into the transformation story? Let us know your thoughts. Join the conversation.
Thanks for tuning in to TalkTickers.
We'll catch you next time for another earnings deep dive.